this. So just be aware that you're being recorded. So we'll call meeting order at 6:35. I'm hoping that maybe some more board members, well, we got, I guess, 1, 2, 3, we got 4 board members. It would be good to have one more. Oh, someone's in the waiting room here, so let me let them in. Hello, wait, they're connecting. So we have hopefully everybody has the packet, which, has about 15 pages that I sent out to everyone by email. We're going to go along and follow through with that. And first thing is our meeting minutes from our last meeting in July. We typically don't meet in August, so our last meeting was July 9th. And I don't know if people have had a chance to read the minutes, but if someone wants to make a motion to approve them, we can do that.
I'll make a motion. This is Richard.
All right, so Richard makes a motion for the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Janet will second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our treasurer's report. So we'll turn to, and that's on page 3. We have a written report, but we'll turn to Janet to talk about that.
Well, it was nice that everyone has a copy of this now. Appreciate that, Paul.
Sure.
We had some dues deposits in July, totaling $140, and no further action in August. So we have a nice balance of $1,147.92.
So we're up to 19 paid members. I think last year we had 24. So hopefully we can get some more people for $20 a year. We encourage people to be a dues paying member. It just helps to pay for some of the costs involved.
And what's the address
Any
again?
questions on the treasurer's report?
What's the address again for the, or
You can send your $20 check to Janet. And Janet, what is your address again?
8617 Bonview, B as in boy, ONVIEW Terrace, Williamsville, 14221.
And payable to New York Coalition for Open Government.
If you have your notice that Paul sent out on the, I think it was the 5th of September for the meeting, the name and address is right in the memo.
Right.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Nice to see you.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Don't be shy.
I approve the treasurer's report.
Sonia makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll
Nice.
second.
I was second.
Oh, Richard. All right, we'll have Richard second.
Yes.
All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So next item is, so the last report we did was in July. We did a report. It's always interesting when we do these reports because I never know what the title is going to be because I never know what the outcome of the report's going to be. So this is our second statewide report that we've done. The first report we did in May focused on kind of bigger sized counties and cities. This most recent report in July focused on smaller local governments, those with a population ranging from like 10,000 to 30,000. And we took a look at 20 of them. And as we've done in the past, just, are they posting meeting agendas with documents? Are they posting meeting minutes? The new thing now is, are they, live streaming their meetings, which is required during the pandemic, at least until recently, and posting videos of the meetings. So the big thing that came out of that report, we titled it Local Government Struggle with Meeting Minutes, is we found out 70% of the smaller local governments we reviewed were not posting meeting minutes at all, or were weeks and months behind. Now, the crazy thing is our weak open meetings law does not even mandate that you have to post meeting minutes, but nonetheless, most places do it, which is a good thing to do. But if you are gonna do it, at least, you shouldn't be months behind and, several meetings behind. So that was the big thing that came out of that report, which again, you never know what the outcome is gonna be. So I was surprised to see that. And that report got some good coverage in local newspapers across the state. So I just attached to the meeting documents a copy of the press release that went out that gives you an overview of how we rated some of these different local governments. Any questions on that? If not, we'll move on to the big news for today anyways, is number 4 is our Niagara County lawsuit. We've been talking about disclosure forms in Niagara County for 3 years now. It was one of the first issues when we formed as the Buffalo Niagara Coalition for Open Government. One of the first issues I became aware of through reporting in the Niagara Gazette and Lockport Union Sun newspaper. Mark Scheer, a reporter, had for years filed FOIL requests to get copies of legislators' disclosure forms that they have to fill out every year. And I was shocked to find out that he was denied those requests. And because I had filed FOIL requests in Erie County for other legislators, and I had no problem. And actually for state legislators, they're all online. You can actually look up your senator, your assembly member, the governor, they're posted online. But Niagara County, I thought, how can this be that Niagara County denies people this? Well, come to find out, they passed a local law in 97 or 96, making their forms secret and confidential, which was amazing. And so we pointed that out to them that in our opinion, that violated the Freedom of Information law. Their county attorney was very adamant that we were wrong. Claude George is a bit of a character. Their county attorney is not the most pleasant man to deal with. And I'll never forget him saying to me, and I will maybe mention this in somewhere, is the last thing he said was, if you think we're wrong, get a judge to tell me so. Well, today we got a judge to tell him so. So today we won our lawsuit. I initially had some trouble getting on, and hopefully Sonia and others got on. At first I had just a blank screen, but I wasn't sure if the judge was going to make a decision today right from the bench, but he did. And he ruled that first the county tried to get it dismissed, saying we filed our lawsuit too late. We missed the statute of limitations. The judge did not agree. The judge agreed that their law that they passed was illegal. It does not comply with FOIL, that we're entitled to receive these 3 or 4 years of disclosure forms that we've asked for. So they will be turning them over to us, I assume. But the other issue was we asked for the county to pay our attorney fees. The judge reserved decision on that, and we're going to file further paperwork, and we'll see if we can get attorney fees for Mike Higgins and the UB Law School for all the hard work they put in. And I probably talked too much and should have let Mike tell you all this stuff, but let me turn it over to Mike, who was our attorney and did a great job on writing the papers and arguing the case today.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to all of you for the work that you did bringing this to light, first getting Niagara County to actually amend their law, and then, continuing to push to get them to now give effect, the true effect to what the law should be. So very pleased that we prevailed in court today. I too was a little surprised that we got a ruling straight from the bench, which was great. That the county could still appeal. So, we don't have the documents yet. They give us 45 days to write the order and to basically for me to submit my paperwork about the fees. But we'll know within 30 days, I think, whether or not the county wants to appeal. I'll get the order in soon, and then the county can decide whether or not to appeal. I don't really have any sense of whether they will or not. If they do appeal, they would be entitled to a stay, an automatic stay, which would further delay the release of the documents. So I'm very confident, though, that we would prevail. If they did appeal, I think our position is as close to rock solid as you can get, and which is maybe why we got that ruling today from the bench.
Any questions for Mike?
I just have one question. What time did the proceeding take place?
3:30.
So, yeah, it was supposed to happen at 3:30, and what happened on my end was there's like two streams. They had a stream for the attorneys. The Niagara County attorneys couldn't really figure out how to work it correctly, so they were fiddling with their things for a while, and then they don't turn on the public feed until like the judge comes on to the bench and they agree that everyone's ready. So, I guess I have some questions about whether or not that's the best practice, especially given the difficulties all of you had getting on there. And maybe I'll alert them to that. But I can tell you that this is not something that they're familiar with doing, right? I had to specifically ask for them to set up this feed. I think they should be setting up public feeds during the pandemic as a matter of course, but they're not doing that. So a little new to them, and sorry about any difficulties anybody had getting on.
I couldn't, when I went on, about 3:22, said it was over.
Right, same thing happened to me. It said, this live meeting has ended, and I didn't know what to do. And my son came in and just refreshed my screen, and then it worked.
Oh,
I never thought to do that. And Sonia, I know, was having difficulty, and I told her, well, just try signing out and signing back in. So hopefully that worked for you, Sonia. I can't hear you, Sonia. You got to unmute yourself.
I came on early as well. And I think I must have pressed that arrow because I didn't get anything. And it's over. And I thought, hey, it was like before 3:28 or at 3:30. Mike, I want to thank you for pointing out and requesting that they turn on the public gizmo so we could listen. Very, very important. And you know what? That should be stated. I hope the media will make a point of letting us know that. Thanks, Mike. Hey, I thought that was really dotted your I's, crossed your T's, really good. But knowing Niagara County, the way they operate, they're going to come up with something. But I don't think they're going to appeal this because they would focus more their screwiness the way they are. So I don't think they're going to appeal. Good job, Mike. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, thank you. This is Richard. Thank you.
And I want to thank Richard too, because Richard actually did a lot of the legwork when we filed our FOIL request. Richard was running down to the Board of Ethics and filing papers. All that work was done in his name, and he did legwork. He walked to hand deliver these documents and papers. So Richard, it's great that you as a Niagara County resident have your name in the papers as well.
Good job, Richard.
It was a pleasure to do that.
I could imagine.
I tried to get into the meeting today right at 3:30, and I got nothing. But I think that was, I think that might have been because of the limitations of my computer. Maybe I didn't have the right equipment.
Okay.
It just said to me, no, live stream is not available. So I think that might have been my problem.
I don't
Thank
know.
you very much, Mike.
Yeah,
Well, that
no,
was-
that might be the court's problem, and I think that's something that I'll raise with them later, or maybe call their IT staff or something. I have some other hearings coming up for some other people that are also going to need live streams, and so maybe I'll have occasion to talk to a few people in court administration about that. And if it doesn't work out, we'll have our next lawsuit together, I guess.
It's Alberta. I tried to get on at 3:30 on my cell phone and I could not get on either.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's-
unfortunate.
I was
And
looking forward to it. Right?
Yeah, and they don't allow you to record it either, so.
Oh.
I will say you didn't miss much, just me talking about the same things I said in my papers, and a close-up view of John Ottaviano's watch for about 15 minutes.
See,
So
now, when I watched it, I could see you, but I could only hear the Niagara County folks. I couldn't see them.
oh, yeah, all sorts of problems, I guess, with the live feed. That's too bad. What is the coalition going to do for public messaging on this? Or do you think you'll send something out, or?
Yeah, I can certainly send out a press release. I can do that.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me know when it goes out.
sure. And
Thank you,
then,
Mike. Thank you, Richard.
and I was going to ask you, Mike, this is just for the legal side attorney thing, is how do we go about getting it as a reported case so other people can find that case and reference it? I don't know how that works, or how a case actually gets reported.
Yeah, that's basically at the discretion of the judge. And given that he didn't write a decision, he just ruled the bench, I think highly unlikely that we would get a reported case.
Right.
Mike, if I might,
Sure.
the judge, I heard him say something, well, it was not unlawful. That was not like he was saying, like, that wasn't their intent. And I thought to myself, BS. They wrote this specifically, so telling you only the sheriff can have this. The rest it's secret to the public.
Yeah,
What was he?
that was the weird thing about the decision, is the judge said the law they passed was illegal, but they didn't act unlawfully. I was scratching my head, but I'll let Mike address that.
Please.
Yeah, so one declaration that we asked for, which is where the judge basically says, this is the law or this is not the law, was that the people who denied us the request, basically the chair of the Niagara County Legislature and the Erie County Ethics Board president or whoever, that they acted unlawfully, right? So I asked for a declaration to that effect. He didn't want to impugn those people by saying basically, well, there was this local law that they were following. So he was just saving their feelings, I think, in that ruling. It doesn't change. I don't think it changes anything about our win. Like, I think our win is in total, right? So he said he couldn't declare their actions, that they acted unlawfully, but that they lacked the power to do that, right? So I forget, I wrote down the word to put in the order. So it's a full win. The judge said that their laws are invalid, that they shouldn't have followed their laws, and awarded us attorney's fees, basically acknowledging that they had no good reason to deny us the documents. So I think he was just, he's a politician, right? He's an elected judge. He's got to run again, and he doesn't want to hurt people's feelings. I'm sure, he was yucking it up a little bit with the Niagara County attorney before the hearing started. So
I think he had to throw them a bone, and if that's the bone you're going to throw, fine. We still won. We got what we wanted. We got their law declared illegal. He just didn't want to criticize them beyond that, I guess. So
I think that's right.
He didn't want to make it real clear that they lost and they were wrong. And I'll tell you, I felt that judge the way he spoke, because a lot of people will walk away confused, and it should be very, very clear. And I think our higher ups in the court administration ought to be looking at that. And listen, you're a judge, make things clear. Not everybody is an attorney. Thank you so much for pushing on that, Mike. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Sonia. I love your fire, but celebrate a little bit. It's a full.
All right, well, let's move on to our next item, which is number 5. Legislator Amy Paulin, this is on page 8 and 9 of your packet. Amy Paulin, for those of you who don't know, was a very influential assembly member in the New York State Legislature. She has passed like hundreds of bills. There are some legislators that have been there 10, 20 years that have maybe passed 2 bills. She is really a go-getter and has passed tons of legislation. In fact, she did, the last change that was made to the open meeting law was in 2012. That was her law. She changed the law to say that you have to file meeting documents online. If you have a website, you have to put this information on your website. So she's very supportive and familiar with the open meetings law. I had contacted her twice previously and I never heard from her. I was a little persistent in trying to get her attention. In the last report we did about local government struggling with meeting minutes, I emailed it to the entire state legislature, 213 senators and assembly members. I have their emails, and she was the only one who responded. And she said, these are great ideas. How can we talk? And I was thrilled because if anybody's attention I wanted, it was hers. So we had a nice phone conversation with her and the attorney in her office. I sent her this memo on pages 8 and 9 of our packet. And she said, I agree with every single one of these. And she's in the process of drafting. She's going to break it up into 5 or 6 different bills. She just filed the first one today. I just got an email from her this afternoon. She knows how to get laws passed. She knows how to make things happen. So hopefully with her, we will be able to get some of these changes that we've talked about. This will take time. Things move slow in the legislature, but I will continue to stay in touch with her and keep you posted as things move along. Now, one of the things that did come out of that email I sent is one of the suggestions I had was, now that meetings are being live streamed and the videos are being posted online, thousands of people are watching meetings now at the local level. It's really amazing. 18,000 people watched the recent Buffalo Common Council meeting. In the small city of Ogdenburg, New York, way up north near Watertown, population 10,000, 1,100 people watched the city council meeting. So it just goes to show you that people are interested in what's going on, but they don't have the time to go to a meeting during the day or at night. So while maybe only a handful of people will attend a meeting in person, people are interested. And if we make it easy for them, they'll watch. So one of the ideas I proposed was, why not mandate that meetings have to be live streamed and you have to post a recording of them online, even after the pandemic. So 2 legislators have introduced that legislation already. So there's been a bill introduced in the Assembly and the Senate to do that. Now that local governments are getting used to doing this, we should mandate that it continue. So hopefully that will make progress. So any questions on any of that?
Hey, Paul, can you hear me? It's
Yeah.
Joe. Hi. Is there going to be any component to where the recording of the meetings have to be stored? Because, for instance, some places only, keep their Facebook Live meetings on the Facebook platform, which I find troubling because they could disappear, a missed password, whatever. I mean, basically, these are public documents and they should be living on the website for the municipality, because they ultimately need to be the ones who have responsibility for keeping these public documents safe.
That's a good point. And in 2019, the state legislature passed a law mandating that industrial development agencies have to live stream their meetings, post the video online. And I think that that legislation requires them to keep it posted for 5 years. I believe the bill that was introduced just recently copies that, but I'll have to double check. I think it requires them to keep it for 5 years online.
Okay, just, something to think about, because,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
I was wondering,
really should live forever.
phone was. I didn't realize it was you, Joe.
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
All right. So, yeah.
Paul, I'm pretty sure that Joe can back me up on this. NT streams their live, but you cannot hear it. And I've gone in at least 2-3 times, and they repeatedly, and I hear people saying the same thing. We can't hear. It is like they don't want you to hear very clearly.
Well, for what it's worth, Sonia,
Yeah.
the new city clerk, who I actually think is going to be more responsive to the old one, they're bringing in a professional to work on that. So I think if I've been engaged with them about that. And I think if you just, keep trying to work with the clerk of the municipality, you could see, progress on that. But I agree. I've written about this. Being able to hear somebody is the most basic form of transparency. And if you can't hear that, how can we trust you?
That's it. It's a real problem. And I would love to see where citizens who are watching can participate as if it was they were in City Hall. And there are a lot of motions being passed, and we don't have we're not permitted to speak during that time. I have beforehand made a request. I heard nothing about my request with respect to what was on the agenda. And I think it is that it's not a law right now, but even if it's a taping, streaming, a Zoom, people ought to be able to participate in that town hall meeting.
Yeah.
It's not a law, right, Paul?
Right. Our open meetings law does not require that they have to hear from the public. That's one of the changes I suggested to Ms. Paulin. So I think she may be writing a bill on that as well.
Good. Where is she from? What part of the state?
Like Westchester County, outside of New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's on board.
Yeah.
Paul, what was the piece of legislation she filed today? What did that involve?
I think the one she filed today was as far as posting meeting documents. There's all these loopholes in the language, and one of the loopholes is that a local government should post meeting documents online as best as practicable. I love that word.
Yeah.
And I said to her, look, why can't we just take that out and mandate it? In today's day and age, today's technology, you're just literally scanning it on a copier and posting it online. And so what she introduced today was eliminating that as best as practicable language. So,
That's great. Thank you.
yeah. So let's move on to the next item, which is number 6, our September speaker event. So our tradition past few years has been every September, towards the end of September, we do a event where we have a speaker. And now that we've gone statewide and with COVID, doing it through Zoom is a great way to reach people from across the state. So we did one a couple months ago on the open meetings law. And so we're doing one now scheduled September 25th at 10 a.m. on the Freedom of Information Law. Kristen O'Neill spoke last time and she's going to speak again. She's from the New York State Committee on Open Government, and a lot of government officials respect her and appreciate her opinion. And I think she's a big draw for folks. So we're going to have her speak, and we're going to have Steve Brown. He spoke a year ago at one of our events. He's a Channel 2 news reporter. He's very experienced in using FOIL, and he had some good pointers and tips. So I think it'll appeal to town clerks, government officials who have to process FOIL requests. It'll appeal to news reporters and just average citizens who are interested in getting a better understanding of the Freedom of Information law. So I'm going to send an email out tomorrow letting everybody know about it and where they can register on Zoom to sign up for it. So hopefully, I think last time we had like 40 people or 50 people. So hopefully we can pull similar numbers, and it's just going to be an hour-long event and should be good. Any questions on that?
At 10 a.m., Paul.
Yeah, we had a discussion whether to do it in the evening or during the day, and Kristen O'Neill said, look, evening just doesn't work for me. I prefer in the morning, and Steve Brown said, fine, that's good for me. I don't know if it's the best time for everyone, but we'll have to see.
That's on a Friday.
Yeah, it's a Friday, so I thought maybe that'll help too.
Well, Paul, can we make sure that, the presentation is recorded somehow?
Yeah,
So that we can obviously put it on the YouTube channel and share it afterwards for
sure.
people who might not be able to tune in at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Good.
So next item is number 7, the SUNY Board of Trustees Chancellor appointment. I wasn't aware what was going on with this chancellor appointment, and there is a UB professor who is on my email list, and he's contacted me in the past about violations at local UB meetings, and he sent me an email making me aware of what was going on with this chancellor appointment, and it's pretty amazing. And we wrote a letter, which is in the agenda on page 10, and basically the current chancellor announced in June that she was going to be leaving, and this person is the person who's in charge of all the 64 state university colleges and campuses. It's a big deal position. And normally what they do, I've looked, since 1984, they've done a search. They form a search committee, it's about a year-long process. They accept resumes, they interview candidates. Well, at this point, when this woman announced that she was leaving, the day after, there was an article in an Albany newspaper from someone close to Governor Cuomo saying, we don't need to do a nationwide search. We got the perfect guy, this Jim Malatris, who's a very close Cuomo person. It should just be Jim. He's got the connections, the experience. He's got a relationship with the governor, and we don't need to do a search. We don't need to do resumes. And that's pretty much what happened at the end of the day. The message, the governor appoints 15 of the 18 SUNY Board of Trustees. The message was delivered that this is who I want. And so they had a bunch of executive session meetings, and they did them very poorly. It's all on videotape. It was shocking. In the meetings, they moved to go into executive session without stating a reason. You would think they would know better. They made a motion on another day for an executive session, and it was never voted on. They just went in executive session and did it. But at no point did they have a public discussion about whether they should do resumes or a search process. You can, talk about hiring a candidate behind closed doors, but whether you're going to do a search process or not do a search process, that should be out in public. There's no need to discuss that in private. So there was literally not a single second of discussion in public about this position. At the end of the day, they voted to hire this person, $450,000 a year salary, no resumes, no interviews. I think they violated the open meetings law in doing it. And I was shocked when I wrote this letter. I was a little nervous. I thought, you know what? We've taken shots at local governments, but now I'm taking a shot at the SUNY Board of Trustees. These are kind of bigwigs. And I was a little nervous that I'm going to get hit back hard, and I better have my facts straight. And I was shocked at how little press coverage it got. There was an article in the Daily Gazette and the Adirondack Enterprise, which is not a big newspaper. It was ignored by the New York Times, ignored by Buffalo News, the Syracuse Post, the Albany Times-Union. I was really shocked that it got no publicity. So I did reach out to the Government Justice Center. They're an interesting organization. I should have probably included their website, but if you just Google Government Justice Center, they're based in Albany, New York, and they have filed open meeting lawsuits and FOIL lawsuits. They have a bit of a conservative bent to them, which I don't care. Again, we're nonpartisan. They tend to focus more on like tax issues and fiscal issues, and which is fine. I have no problems with that. All that should be publicly disclosed, and they file lawsuits about financial information not being disclosed. So I reached out to them and I said, you know what, this is just terrible. I mean, I can't believe that we hire this position this way, no interviews, no resumes, and behind closed doors. And would you guys be interested in filing a lawsuit? And he initially told me, you're not going to win. They're not going to overturn the chancellor's appointment. And I responded back, I agree with you. I don't think they will overturn the chancellor's appointment, but I think the court may, and I don't see how they could not, may slap their hands saying they violated the open meetings law. And this is not the right way to conduct business. And I think that in itself may be worth doing, and just drawing publicity to how this was done may be worth doing. And he thought about it for a couple days and he got back to me and he said, you know what? I think you're right. I think this is so egregious to hand somebody a $450,000 a year job without any resumes, without any interviews. We may not win, but I think it's important to draw attention to this issue. So they're interested in filing the lawsuit.
Great.
I had further conversations with them about it yesterday. I don't know if it would be in the name of the New York Coalition for Open Government or if it would be in an individual's name. We have to figure out who would be the best person to bring the lawsuit. You know, you have to have standing and all these issues. But I thought maybe for tonight, it may be a good idea if people are interested and agree. We don't have to do it tonight. We can think about it and do it next month if you want. But it might be a good idea to pass a motion stating that we support a lawsuit being filed against the SUNY Board of Trustees on their process they utilize for selecting a chancellor. So I open it up to you guys, whatever thoughts, opinions you may have on the topic.
I agree with you. I would support taking a lawsuit. And I got to tell you, I am very, very surprised the New York Times, Buffalo News, and a couple other newspapers you mentioned, that they didn't touch this. And I think about no more than 3 weeks ago, there was an article in the paper about all the different medias, newspapers, television news, how they were about transparency and openness in government. I've got to find that and share it with all of you. Maybe some of you have already read it, but then these entities, these important reporting agencies, they didn't touch it. It is very, very surprising to me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there were just other stuff going on or if the thinking was, yeah, well, you know what? That's the way things work sometimes. What are you going to do?
You know, I'm of the starting to conclude that this system is corrupt, and unless you push it, and first of all, you got to have a viable complaint, and it's got to be really very important. And I think this one is, unless you press on it, this corruption of the old boys network, the way the system is, will stay that way. And I think we need to get involved and start speaking up, standing up to what's wrong, especially corruption.
Anyone else?
Yeah, question, is that $450,000 of taxpayer money paid to
It is. It's government money. In addition to the $450,000, he gets a $60,000 a year housing stipend. Not a bad gig.
Yeah, I think you should go for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a
Yes, I
taxpayer,
agree.
I say that.
Yeah. Well, we should have someone make a motion that we support filing a lawsuit against the SUNY Board of Trustees regarding the process used to hire a chancellor. Who wants to make that?
I make a motion that we file a lawsuit against the SUNY Board of Trustees.
Well,
For,
I
that correct?
appreciate that motion, Alberta, but as a non-board member, I have to have it from a board member.
got it.
I'd like to make a motion that we support a lawsuit against the UB trustees
SUNY
regarding
Board of Trustees.
SUNY's trustees.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
All
Joe.
right, seconded by Joe. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, I don't know, I don't want to get lawsuit crazy here, but here's another interesting topic. And this is the number 8 on our agenda, the North Tonawanda Niagara Reporter contract. And there is a news article attached on page 13. This is another one that's pretty outrageous to me. And I wasn't made aware of this until Steve Lyle, one of our members, made me aware of this, that in North Tonawanda, well, first, there's a little background is necessary here. North Tonawanda just had a terrible audit come out about that their finances are a mess, and it really criticized the mayor and the city council for being neglectful in monitoring the finances. And they knew this report was coming out right after their August 4th meeting. In fact, on August 4th, their treasurer resigned. I think in large part due to how bad this report was. But the way politics works, he got promoted to be another position in Niagara County. So he resigned his North Tonawanda position. And
Oh, he was actually speaking last night as a legislator meeting as the county clerk.
oh,
He's
okay.
the assistant county clerk, but he's one step away from that now.
Okay.
Yeah, in Niagara County, you if you're in the political elite, you fail upwards.
So this
That's the
audit
truth.
was coming out, and I think they are in a bit of panic. Most of the board is up for re-election next year, and they desperately need positive publicity. So somebody hatched this idea of, and the Niagara Reporter paper is kind of a conservative leaning type newspaper. The board is, 4-1 Republican, 4-1 Democrat. Again, not that politics matters. It's just the reality of why they chose this newspaper. So without putting it out to bid, without soliciting proposals, a resolution gets filed by the council president saying, we're going to enter into a contract, $2,000 a month with the Niagara Reporter, and they're going to do a 2-page insert every month about what's going on in North Tonawanda. So basically a positive news insert. I think the motivation being this audit is a mess. We got election coming up. We got to somehow get some positive news, even if we have to pay for it. I've never seen such a contract where you pay a newspaper $2,000 a month to do this. It was pointed out, well, why don't we just, first of all, there's a pandemic going on. So they were talking, well, report happenings, events. Well, there really isn't much events happening. We got a Facebook page and a website. Why don't we use that? So they approved this contract. So at $2,000 a month, it's $24,000 a year. The law is any purchase contracts over 20 grand a year have to go out to bid. Now there's an interesting debate of, well, how do you define this contract? Well, there's 3 different ways you could define it, but I think any which way you define it, they didn't do what they needed to do. If it's a purchase contract, I argue you're purchasing space in a newspaper. It's a purchase contract. It has to go out to bid. Well, as far as I know, they didn't put it out to bid. If it's a public work contract under $35,000, it doesn't have to go out to bid, but you have to get quotes from other vendors before you select some. If it's considered professional services, which I think they would argue, you have to solicit proposals. Again, other people have to get the opportunity to tell you what their price is and, you know, what they can do for you. They didn't do any of that. They just, on, you know, a short notice, put it in front of the board, it was approved. Now that approval is subject to the city attorney approving the contract, so he could say, you guys didn't do this right, I'm not approving it. Chances are he'll probably approve it and let it go forward, but we'll see. So Joe Kissel actually filed a FOIL request asking some of these questions, some of this information. Please provide me with any quotes you obtained, any bids you did. We haven't gotten a response yet, but I would imagine the answer is we don't have any such documents. This one may be another one to file a lawsuit over, truthfully. But I'm not gonna vote on that today. And if it is a lawsuit, I don't think it will be one that's filed by the coalition. I think you get into some standing issues, whether we as a nonprofit organization can challenge a taxpayer contract. It'd be better to have a taxpayer file that lawsuit. So we'll see. First, let's see what response we get to Joe's FOIL request, if anything. We have 4 months from August to file a lawsuit, so we have until, you know, December. But this could be another interesting one where I think they just really messed up. And whether someone stops them from taking it further, we'll have to see. Any comments on that, Joe? Have you heard anything else from your FOIL request?
No, I think there's about 5 more business days before they're going to have to provide something or say something else. They did respond to me
Right.
saying that, you know, they received it, but,
Marie?
you know, just to provide a little.
I can't talk right now. I'll call you as soon as this is over.
Yeah, and then part of me thought, you know what, maybe I made a mistake by doing the FOIL request, because if anything, I brought attention to the fact that they didn't do it right, and I might have been better off staying quiet. But either way, if the FOIL request stops them from doing this foolish thing, that's fine too. So
But, you know, the thing is about this, a little background, is that, you know, I really believe that this was like a gift almost to the person who was editor of the Reporter. I'm not going to say his name, but he's been involved in some litigation now, a civil suit regarding impropriety in his job. And so he's been fired. He's not at the Reporter anymore. And he was also had a part-time $50,000 gig at the county, Niagara County. So I think they kind of, you know, he's not even 30 yet. And I think they thought he was a rising star, but I think his star has crashed very dramatically, and it'll be interesting. They might throw him under the bus. They do that from time to time. So that I don't know how that would exactly affect things, but I actually think they might not go through with this,
right.
kind of making it a moot point.
The other interesting thing was that the Niagara Reporter wrote the contract. That to me is unusual. Usually the city attorney would write the contract, but it's on Niagara Reporter letterhead. It's a 2-page thing with not much legalese in it. It's just, the whole thing is odd. So
Yeah, well, this person is a lawyer, like a year and a half.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that might explain things a little.
So we'll keep posted on it and see what happens. But that's could be another interesting issue. So let me move on to number 9.
Paul,
Yeah.
Paul, on this topic, Joe, I heard on the street that OTB had been giving Niagara Reporter the 2,000 for whatever it was, and that is no longer happening. And then NT is filling that gap to Niagara Reporter.
No,
That's what I heard on the street.
That's interesting.
and-
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what Sonia was saying. Paul, what did she
She
say?
said that OTB used to pay, she heard on the street, the Niagara Reporter, $2,000 a month but OTB has stopped doing so, and it kind of looks like now they're just getting the money from North Tonawanda.
Okay, that would kind of track.
Yeah.
I
That's
did
one of
see
the
that.
reasons- That's one of the reasons why the city clerk left, because the alderman lost her job recently at OTB. So they needed to find a new spot for her, city clerk.
All right. All right. Well, let me move to number 9, which talks about I don't know if people are aware, there's a National Freedom of Information Coalition. I put their website on the agenda, and they have every year they do a conference, and this year they're doing it remotely, and it only costs like $25, but they have some interesting sessions on there that if you pay, I think it's like $23 actually. If you sign up and pay, there may be some sessions that are of interest to you that you can check out that are all online. So I just wanted to share that with you, and you might want to go check out the website. And it's from September 24th to October 1st, like every day they have something going on. So I just wanted to share that. So next, number 10 brings us to new business. Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
I would like to bring up the fact that I filed for a FOIL, and it took, I filed March 18th, and I think it was like in July or August, I got anonymously a North Tonawanda manila envelope. Inside was a little sticky with one of the gizmos you put in your computer to listen to, and it said March 9th, and I put it in. Of course, I didn't understand it
Yeah.
because I don't have the same software,
Yeah.
but it took me a
Sister.
while to get it.
Sister? Oh, sister.
You got to mute yourself, Janet. All right, she did.
And I listened to it. It is not the full audio. It doesn't have the beginning to the middle to the end. And I was concerned about that when I had told the mayor about this, if he heard about the ZBA. The point is, it was sent anonymously, nothing written at all. And I wanted to check with research and check with legal people. How do I go about this? My point is, I'm thinking, Sonia, this is not complicated. Just send them out the fact that you received this. It had a label on such and such date, and I received it about 7-10 days later, what that original label was. I mean, it's really like smells. It's not, nothing's kosher. The point is, I asked for the audio of the hearing. I got parts of it. I don't believe that is adequate to my request. I've got 2 lawyers listening. Am I right or wrong?
Well, you can certainly follow up with them and say, you know, I didn't get the full hearing. You only gave me part of it. Is there some reason why? They need to explain, well, the tape machine didn't work or whatever. But you can say, I asked for the full hearing and it doesn't appear I got it.
It's not that it doesn't appear. It's definitely not there. And so I will follow up, and I'll get back to the coalition.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm going to CC it to Committee on Open Government as well,
Okay.
in the papers,
Yeah.
in the coalition.
All right. Anything else under new business?
Yeah, I had a question. So in our town, the police receive their own foils and handle their own foils, and there's still if there's an appeal, it still goes to the town attorney. All the other foils come to the town clerk. Is that typical or common?
It does seem to be for police departments for some reason. And when I, as an attorney, have had to foil police reports and stuff, they always seem to go directly to the police department.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Wow, we're.
I got to say this because it's now. Police department, I read, like I think a lot of us, there is a, in the contract, everything is hushed up. Could this be part of that process, the old process? Why West Seneca would be responding to a FOIL versus the legal department? Paul?
No, I think police departments are kind of their own fiefdoms, and if you need something from the police department, you go to them directly.
But if you had something that was what would normally have been in the past kept quiet, and now with new law and our they could still be overseeing that business, which is to be out in the open.
Yeah, I mean, they still got to
Especially
follow.
under a
They still
FOIL.
have to follow the law as far as disclosing thing, and if they're not going to disclose it, they have to give a legal basis for doing so. But
But if they have control of it, what do you? If they have control of it, what's the chances that they're going to expose what allegedly, possibly wrong they've done?
That's
Not much of a chance
true
for
of
that, I
any
don't think.
department.
Yeah. Listen, I don't mean to sound negative, but given what Gary mentioned, and then the new, what we learned about the secrecy and then the new law, that's why I had to ask.
Yeah. Anything else under new business?
Not new, but I just like to say, Joe, it's good to hear your voice again. You've been
Yeah.
missed. You've been gone too long.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened with those last two meetings.
But that's okay. We're going forward, Joe.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You're the greatest group of people in the world, in my opinion.
Thanks. Well, we made it almost exactly an hour, and I don't want to keep people much longer than that. So I thought we'd have a few more people tonight, actually. I was surprised the turnout was a little lighter tonight. But good to see Gary. I know you're busy, hard at work as a town supervisor. I figured we'd never see you again, but you're still coming and attending, and that's great. And you're doing good things out in West Seneca that I read about and hear about.
Thanks. It's a good time of the day, you know, so it only takes away from my family, not from the town.
Well, time to get home to the wife and spend some time not thinking about government. So, all right. Well, if someone wants to make a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
moved by Janet. Is there a second?
I was second.
All right, Richard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So our next meeting, oh, I forgot to bring this up. Joe did mention this to me. Our next meeting is October 8th. And Joe said, geez, do you think we're at the point where maybe we can meet in person? And I don't know if the library where we usually meet is allowing in-person meetings or not. So I would have to check on that. But I kind of like the Zoom meetings myself, but I don't know how other people feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just wanted to put that out there just for people to talk about. Also, I mean, because I agree, I think the Zoom meetings are great, but it might be an opportunity for everyone to see each other one more time before we go into the second lockdown. I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to see everyone, but if we don't, I totally get it.
I
agree.
Yeah.
If you have an in-person meeting, can you also have the Zoom along with it?
Well, I think Joe suggested that maybe we could do both.
Good idea.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to see where things are maybe a week before or something and try to figure it out.
But would it also depend on how many are in person and can we distance 6 feet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a-
Yeah, well, maybe it just would be the board then meeting. I don't know. I mean, it was sort of just a fanciful thought.
It's just
I
Joe
think
missing
everyone,
seeing
that's
us all
all.
in person. So. All right, well, we'll have to figure it out, but good seeing everyone again, and we'll do it again October 8th.
Thanks, Paul.
Right.
Thank
Thanks,
Thank you,
Paul.
Paul.
Good job.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks
Good to
again,
see
Mike.
everyone.
Thanks, Richard.